Think thou to escape what no mortal hath been able to avoid? Which of the saints in the world hath been without the cross and tribulation? For not even Jesus Christ our Lord was 1 hour without the anguish of his passion, so long as he lived. It behooved, he said, Christ to suffer, and to rise from the dead, and so enter into his glory. And how dost thou seek another way than this royal way, which is the way of the holy cross? The whole life of Christ was a cross and martyrdom. And dost thou seek for thyself rest and joy? Thou art wrong, if thou seekest aught but to suffer tribulations. For this whole mortal life is full of miseries, and set round with crosses. And the higher a man hath advanced in the Spirit, the heavier crosses he will often find, because the sorrow of his banishment increaseth with the strength of his love. But yet the man who is thus in so many wise afflicted is not without refreshment of consolation, because he feeleth abundant fruit to be growing within him out of the bearing of his cross. For whilst he willingly submitteth himself to it, every burden of tribulation is turned into an assurance of divine comfort. And the more the flesh is wasted by affliction, the more is the spirit strengthened mightily by inward grace. And ofttimes so greatly is he comforted by the desire for tribulation and adversity, through love of conformity to the cross of Christ, that he would not be without sorrow and tribulation. For he believeth that he shall be the more acceptable to God, the more and the heavier burdens he is able to bear for his sake. This is not the virtue of man, but the grace of Christ, which hath such power and energy in the weak flesh, that what it naturally haddeth and fleeth from, this it draweth to and loveth through fervor of spirit. It is not in the nature of man to bear the cross, to love the cross, to keep under the body and to bring it into subjection, to fly from honors, to bear reproaches meekly, to despise self and desire to be despised, to bear all adversities and losses, and to desire no prosperity in this world. If thou lookest to thyself, thou wilt of thyself be able to do none of this. But if thou trustest in the Lord, endurance shall be given thee from heaven, and the world and the flesh shall be made subject to thy command. Yea, thou shalt not even fear thine adversary the devil, if thou be armed with faith and signed with the cross of Christ. Set thyself, therefore, like a good and faithful servant of Christ, to the manful bearing of the cross of thy Lord, who out of love was crucified for thee. Prepare thyself for the bearing many adversities and manifold troubles in this wretched life, because so it shall be with thee wheresoever thou art, and so in very deed thou shalt find it, wherever thou hide thyself. This it must be, and there is no means of escaping from tribulation and sorrow, except to bear them patiently. Drink thou lovingly thy Lord's cup if thou desirest to be his friend, and to have thy lot with him. Leave consolations to God. Let him do as seemeth best to him concerning them. But do thou set thyself to endure tribulations, and reckon them the best consolations. For the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. Nor would they be even if thou wert to endure them all.